What is going on, everybody? Welcome to or back to Ryder's Record Collection. My name is Carl, and before I get too far into this video and talk about some vinyl, I want to just give a shout out or make a mention of all the people that were affected by the tornadoes that rolled through Kentucky and that area. I can't imagine what it's like to lose your entire home and friends and stuff like that in a matter of a minute. Living in South Florida, I've dealt with hurricanes, and I've seen the devastating force that a hurricane can have, and I can't imagine what it's like to go through a tornado and deal with that, especially right before Christmas and everything. And if you are affected by that or know anybody, my heart is with you. If you are dealing with that right now, you're obviously not watching this because you got more pressing things, but I'm thinking about you and I sympathize with you. My heart is with you. You're my thoughts and my prayers. And I wish you guys all the best. And I hope, everything going forward for the rest of what you have to deal with is easier. Not that losing your house is easy, but I'm thinking about you guys, and you're with me. So anyway, now that I'm off my soapbox, I wanted to do the 10 best vinyl finds that I've had of this year. I started to make this list, and I had some albums in this list that I had purchased, which, obviously I purchased all of them, but albums that I had ordered off of Discogs. So I decided to eliminate those because half of the 10 were things that I knew that I was getting on Discogs. And to me, that's not vinyl finds, that's just vinyl buying. So I pulled those out, and these are the 10 best finds that I've actually found from going to a record store, crate digging, walking in somewhere and totally unsuspecting, finding certain things. So without any further ado, the 10 best vinyl finds of 2021, and we're going to kick it off with the Clash and their album Sandista, which was a 1980 release, I believe. It was following London Calling before they released Combat Rock. It's their 4th album overall. This is a 3 LP album with 36 songs on it total, and this continues the Clash getting weird. It's got funk, soul, gospel, jazz. It's just got a whole slew of stuff on it. This is them just really stretching out their musical legs. This was a cool find for me because I've never seen this album before in the wild. I know you can buy represses of it. You can buy represses of pretty much any Clash album, but just the fact that I was able to find all 3 LPs in the record store, very unsuspecting one day, was really, really cool to me. So this is a 1980s pressing that I found at the record rack here in Pompano Beach. Super, super stoked when I found it. So number 10 is the Clash Sandista. The next one is another one that I found here in Pompano Beach at the record rack, and this is actually my first Japanese pressing that I have in my collection, with the Obi strip and everything. One of my favorite bands, but this is The Doors' Greatest Hits. This is a 1980 compilation they put out following the release of Apocalypse Now, which was a movie that was released in '79 that featured a lot of Doors music. So this compilation in the movie helped put the Doors back on the map to a younger generation of audience, basically people who weren't around in Doors' heyday. But this has some killer tracks on this. Hello, I Love You, Light My Fire, People Are Strange, Love Me 2 Times, Riders on the Storm, The End, Roadhouse Blues, Not to Touch the Earth, Touch Me, and LA Woman. And again, this is probably a pretty common compilation to find. This is the first Japanese pressing I have in my collection with the Obi strip, and I just think it looks awesome. So this was a really cool find that, again, I got here in Pompano Beach at the record rack, my local record store. This next one was a really recent pickup. It's actually really funny. There's a whole story behind finding this. I made a video where I talked about wanting this album and yada, yada, yada. My last recent arrivals video, I sort of went into the whole story. But basically, I haven't been able to find this album. It's from 1969. It's one that I really wanted, and I recently found it. And right after I made a video talking about how much I wanted to find it. But this is Frank Zappa, Hot Rats. This is his 1969 second solo album after the Mothers of Intervention. And it's instrumental jazz fusion, and it's super good. I really enjoyed this album. There's the gatefold. The album art too and everything is great. This is one that I had streamed for a while. Again, I couldn't find on vinyl. I didn't really enjoy it enough to buy a repress of it, but I found this, and again, I'm a big fan of finding things, and I think when something calls to you, you got to go ahead and get it. And I'm glad I got it because this sounds so good on vinyl. It's crazy. This is a 1969 very early pressing of it, and I found this at the Vinyl Destination in Fort Lauderdale, which is my favorite record store behind the my favorite record store, and close behind is the Record Rack here in Pompano Beach. So number 8, Frank Zappa, Hot Rats. So I was able to do a little bit of traveling around Florida this year. One of the places that I went is St. Augustine, Florida. I made a little sort of vlog, if you will, about that. And I found this not on that particular trip that I made that vlog, but on a subsequent trip to St. Augustine. And this is the Zombies with their debut self-titled album, The Zombies. This has She's Not There, which is probably the lead single, the song from this album that everybody knows. It also has Summertime and Tell Her No. This is a very early mono pressing of it on the Parrot label. The Zombies, this is the only original Zombies album I've ever been able to find. The other 2 Zombies albums I have are repress of Odyssey and Oracle and the Oddities and Ends that they just put out for Record Store Day. So this was a super, super cool find. This close to original mono version of their debut album, and it's on the Parrot label. And I think this label in general just looks really cool. So I'll show you what this label looks like, because why not? So that is the Parrot label. I love the Parrot sitting there just lounging with his hat and his cane. I think it's super cool, super iconic. So super, super fun album to find. Sounds really good. It's a little beat up, but these mono records, you have a pretty beat up mono record, still get away with playing it. It sounds pretty darn good. So the Zombies, just great band, and super, super stoked to find this year. So when I put this list together, I did the numbers based upon like how surprised I was to find these things and how sort of rare they are, I guess, if you will. Some of them might be more rare than others, but coming in at number 6 is at number 6 just because it's a hard album to find. But this is a band that I can't find really any original or early pressings of. But this is the Kinks. This is Lola versus the Money Man and the Power Go Round or something like that. Lola versus Power Man and the Money Go Round, and this is the Kinks' 8th studio album overall, released in, I believe, 1970, a concept album that makes fun of the music industry. Again, Kinks are hard to find on vinyl in general, so when I found this at the Record Rack up here in Pompano Beach, I was super, super stoked to take it home. So this is a repress that, again, I found at the Record Rack, and just super great. This has 2 of my favorite Kinks songs of all time, Lola and the song 8 Man. And the song 8 Man, I cannot get enough of that song. I play that song whenever I'm on a boat, just because I think 8 Man is such an appropriate song to play when you're cruising down the intercoastal on a boat. All right, coming in at number 5, we are halfway there. This is an album that I really honestly was not looking for on vinyl. I happened to stumble upon it, and I'm glad that I did because it sounds so, so good on vinyl. But this is Pink Floyd's debut 1967 Piper at the Gates of Dawn. This is the only album released under Syd Barrett's leadership. He was the original singer and guitar player for the band. And again, this is something that I had streamed a couple times. Really not sure if I ever wanted to get this particular album on vinyl. I'm more of the Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, metal kind of. That's my era of Pink Floyd that I really like. But when I walked into the vinyl destination and I found this, I had to get it right away. It's such a minty clean copy. This is an early stereo repress, an import from UK on the Columbia EMI label, and the cover's so minty. It's got that nice finish on it. One little nick out of it, but what can you do? But it's so clean, it's so good. I was mind blown when they found it, and like I said, a UK import on this EMI label, so I'll show you what that looks like if you can see it through there. So super, super, super pumped to find this one. Not something I was looking for, but man, I'm glad I have it because it sounds so good on vinyl. I'm realizing as I'm starting to find more obscure things that I wouldn't think to own on vinyl, as my collection grows, that hearing it on vinyl, it blows you away. Same thing with that Frank Zappa record I showed. It's one thing to stream it and listen to it in a nice stereo with some nice headphones on, but it's a totally other thing to drop the needle on it and hear it on vinyl. It is just, wow, mind-blowing. So the next thing is also something that I wasn't really looking for on vinyl. This is an album that I had been trying to get into for a long time, that it took quite a bit of listens for me to get into it, and something that I really wasn't looking for just because, one, you don't really see it all that often, and 2, it's pretty out there. It's definitely not for everyone, but this is Miles Davis, Bitches Brew. This is a 1970 album that he released. It's him continuing in that experimental vein that he did with rock and jazz fusion and stuff like that. I actually found this on my honeymoon in St. Pete. Again, I wasn't looking for it. I was just perusing some record stores as my wife and I were going around and doing things. Went into one record store and they had an original pressing of this and they wanted too much money for it in my mind. So I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to do it. I was okay with walking away from it. Went to another record store the next day and they had this copy here. This is a repress of it, I think from 1975. So it was a little more affordable for me, and I'm okay with not having an original. But again, in that same vein of hearing it on vinyl, it is just crazy. Like, this is definitely an album that was made and meant to be heard and appreciated on vinyl. This thing is so good and so cool, and I'm super glad I found it. Just a great, great Miles Davis record. So Miles Davis, Bitches Brew, coming in at number 4. So we're on the home stretch here, and these are all things that I've never seen. You know, this year, for some reason, with record collecting, I don't know if it's because COVID, everything shut down, and I wasn't buying a lot of stuff, but when things reopened this year, I have found so many good records. I've seen so much stuff that I've never seen before, and these last 3 are all just testaments to that. And coming in at number 3 is Iggy Pop, Lust for Life. This is I believe his second solo album after the Stooges. This is when he was living in Berlin with Bowie. He was collaborating with Bowie a lot. You can hear the Bowie influence on this album in a big, big way, but this is a 1977 pressing of it, first press. I was blown away when I found this at the Vinyl Destination. The Stooges are hard to find in general, but you can occasionally find the Stooges, but I've never before seen an Iggy Pop record out in the wild. I mean, it blew my mind, and it's so clean and so nice. The Vinyl Destination this year has gotten some really good collections in there of people just that really took care and maintained their records really well. So it's been a lot of fun going through that, and I've found some really good stuff from both the Vinyl Destination and the Record Rack here in Pompano. But the Vinyl Destination is they've been knocking it out of the park consistently all year. I can't say enough good things about them. They're awesome people and an awesome record store, and I never get tired of going there. So this was from them. The next one is also from the Vinyl Destination, part of the same collection that this Iggy Pop record came out of, and this is an album that I've also never been able to find on vinyl ever, and I've been looking for it because I love this album. And this is War, The World is a Ghetto. This is a 1972 album, and it is funk, soul, jamming music, a little bit of psychedelia in it. Just so good. The track listing on here starts out with Cisco Kid, and any album that starts with Cisco Kid is just great. Cisco Kid, City Country City, Beatles in the Bog, Four Cornered Room, Where Was You At, and The World is a Ghetto. And I have been looking for a copy of this for a very long time. Very unsuccessfully, actually, but I found this thing there, and it blew my mind. And this is actually a 1972 UK import on the United Artists label, so another UK import. Blowing my mind. So coming in at number 2 is War, The World is a Ghetto. And last, but certainly not least, is just the ultimate grail for me. I don't know what it is about me, but I've got some records that I want to find out in the wild. I can easily buy a repress, no issue, no problem, but I want to find it out in the wild. And this was one of those records that I wanted to find out in the wild. And I did at a place called Full Circle Music when I was getting my saxophone repaired. This, to me, is the ultimate find of the year. It's in the blank sleeve because the sleeve was so dirty and nasty and gunky. But it is Miles Davis. It is Kind of Blue. It is the 1977 repress of it. And it's an easy album to buy a repress of. I don't know why I wanted to find one so bad, but I did, and I am stoked. It is, like I said, the 1977 repress, and I had to throw the sleeve away because it was so gross. The vinyl itself was just disgusting. It took me a long time to clean it, but it is a very, very minty 1977 pressing of this. And again, it's easy to find, and it's a pretty much flawless jazz album, but I just wanted to find it somewhere, and I always have the story of finding this in the most unlikely of places, a really nasty crate of records at a music store. So those are the 10 best vinyl finds that I've had this year. I've really had a great year of record collecting, both buying new stuff, which will be the next video I make, the 5 best vinyl, like new vinyl purchases that I made, things that I knew were coming, but just crate digging and going to record stores has been phenomenal for me this year. I hope it has been for you as well. My collection has really grown a lot. In a lot of different ways. I'm finding a lot of jazz. No reggae made this list, but I found a lot of really good reggae this year. Good jazz, good classic rock, good modern rock. So 2021 has been a great year of record collecting. And thank you all for being a part of it and watching my recent arrivals and whatnot. And coming up soon, I'm going to do the resolutions, New Year's resolutions for my record collection, and I'll have these 5 vinyl purchases, because they're not technically vinyl finds, coming out soon. So if you like the video, please throw it a like, and if you like the channel, please subscribe. And until the next time, I'm Carl. This is Ryder's Record Collection. If you're celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas. If you've already had your holidays, happy holidays. And until the next time, have some fun, spin some wax. Cheers.